Hello and welcome back everyone, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get started in an Iron Man profile on HYPIXEL SKYBLOCK. Now I want to start off by saying I'm not going to be showing you every little detail of what you're going to want to do. I have a video for that I made relatively recently if you want to check that out up in the top corner, but what I am going to be saying is the more specific things that are generally just for Iron Man. Now these are things I wouldn't always recommend for a normal profile, but would recommend with everything I have for an Iron Man profile. So, without further ado, make sure to subscribe and leave a like if this helps, and let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is, it's incredibly important, every pet in this game is going to need you to have eggs. Now, ever since the update, a lot of them will just need a normal egg, some of them will need an enchanted egg, and a lot will still need a super enchanted egg. Now, eggs are going to be a pain to get unless if you set up infrastructure for them very early on. So, what I recommend doing is going over to the farming islands, and I recommend doing this pretty much as soon as you start. To clarify, sooner the better. Now, once you're here, I recommend running around and seeing if any of the chickens lay any eggs. You'll need 5 of them. I do, however, recommend killing a bunch of chickens to get the collection up, though, because you will need the collection for the rest of this method. Now, after you've unlocked the raw chicken collection, and after you've gotten to level 3 of that collection, for this you will need 250 raw chicken. That's really not that bad. Just go around killing things for a while and you will be fine. But once you get to this level, you will unlock the chicken hat. This is going to save your life early on. With this chicken hat, you can lay an egg whenever you sneak every 5 seconds. This is insanely helpful. You'll be able to craft it for 5 eggs. Those won't take you too long to get. And then you're going to want to sneak until you have 144 eggs. Now then, once you get 10 times the amount of raw chicken, so I suggest having a chicken minion set up during this time, you will unlock the enchanted egg. Now once again, this will need 144 normal eggs, but you will never have to worry about farming for eggs after you get this, because if given to a chicken minion as a minion item, it will make every chicken drop an egg whenever the minion kills one. Which means, anytime your minion does anything, you're getting eggs. This will solve any problem for eggs that you'll ever have. You'll be overflowing with eggs in literally no time. And you know what that means? That means you can get any pets that you need without any issue in terms of the eggs. The items that you'll need to actually craft a pet are still going to be an issue, but that is how I got so many pets early on, such as the rabbit pet, the spider pet, the endermite pet, the silverfish pet. All of the pets that need to actually be crafted, I was able to craft them very early on and start leveling them because I set up chicken minions. And that is why I recommend you do the same. Now, the next thing I would recommend doing is quite literally just doing anything that you can. I recommend starting every skill that you can as soon as you can. Now, I'm gonna have specific videos for farming, for mining, for foraging, for fishing at some point, and maybe even more skills, but for right now, I would recommend going ahead and just grinding as much as you can for all of these skills in whatever way that you know how. The sooner that you do this, the more XP you'll get, the higher level you'll be, the easier everything will be because you'll have more health and more strength, as well as countless other very helpful stats that leveling up your skills will give you. However, the one that I would recommend almost the most to level up early on is actually going to be alchemy. Now, this is a pain and a half to level up, and I know that. I'm not going to suggest that you go for alchemy 50 at the start of your profile, but if you can get your alchemy to level 20, if you can get it to level 21, the highest that you can get it, whatever that may be, that is going to help you more than I can put into words, because the higher level your alchemy is, the longer your god potion will last. Currently, I believe my god potions last for 17 hours, compared to the normal 12. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how long, I forget for sure. This one also goes for any profile, but I would also greatly recommend speedrunning your way to enchanting level 10, so that you can unlock the experimentation table. Give me 1 second here, there we go. Now, if you're new to HYPIXEL SKYBLOCK as a whole, or just if you haven't touched this side of Skyblock very much, the experimentation table will pretty much let you get tons and tons of XP for enchanting very, very easily. So the sooner you get that set up, the sooner you'll be able to level your enchanting to the higher levels, and the sooner you'll have it maxed. As for the other 5 main skills, I once again would recommend going for them as soon as possible, but getting specific levels in them early on won't help you quite as much for specific reasons as for enchanting and alchemy. The one thing I will say about the other big 5 is try to get some sort of fishing or clay minions down as soon as you can to level your fishing, because early on, especially on an Iron Man profile, fishing is absolutely terrible to upgrade, or to level up. So try to get some minions down to help with that as soon as you can. I know it's kind of difficult, once again, especially early on, but it will save you a world of hurt later on if you just get some fishing and clay minions set up early on. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is actually the garden. I am not some master farmer. I'm not going to say, oh, make every one of your farms as efficient as it can possibly be. I use the default presets still. I don't care that much, but there are some very specific things you should know. First off, try to get as many easy visitors as you can early on. Don't send away ones that you haven't accepted as an offer yet, unless if you really for some reason need to, because it's always helpful to make sure that you have all of the unique visitors that you can. Now, the most important thing that I really want to talk about right now for getting your garden set up is actually just going to be pests. These are incredibly important. That's another reason to take care of visitors as much as you can early on, so that you can unlock pests. Now, you'll unlock most of the pests at garden level 5. This will be really easy to get, you just have to kind of grind for it a little bit and then you'll be set. You'll unlock a few more pests over time, but as soon as you can start, you should. Now, to start with your pests, you're going to have the basic vacuum. It doesn't deal much damage. It's going to take you a while to kill the pests, but it will be worth it. Now, I would personally recommend trying to upgrade your vacuum as soon as possible. Once again, pests are going to give you so many more crops than you normally will be getting from a lot of other sources. I have found that they are incredibly helpful. I have gotten several silver or even gold medals in contests just from pest farming. So if you can get this set up soon, early into your profile, you will have a way better time than if you just kind of ignore it until later on. Now, another reason that I suggest getting pests started early on rather than later is actually for the bestiary. Because if you go to your garden, each of these pests has a bestiary, and they each have unique drops. For example, you are going to want the beady reforge for your vacuum. This is not a very high drop chance, and you get it from the fly. So, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get that, the sooner you'll have extra farming fortune against pests. For another example, the cricket drops a chirping stereo, which is a very rare chance, and you're going to need that eventually. So, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll have that, the easier it'll be later on. Another example is the slug pet. Either the epic or the legendary, both are absolutely amazing. And each and every one of these will drop something that you'll absolutely need. Another example is the atmospheric filter, or the bookworm's favorite book. This is going to be helpful. Or the clipped wings. This isn't helpful. Do not use this on your vacuum. This is a waste. Don't put this on your vacuum. It used to be good. It isn't anymore. Another example is the rat pet. I know I'm just reading the special drop from every one of these at this point, but trust me when I say, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get all these, the easier farming as a whole will be. Now, because of all this, I recommend going into pest hunting pretty much as soon as you can. As you get pests, I recommend going for the Pest Hunter artifact. After that, I recommend going for either the Pest Hunter equipment if you are actively going to be pest farming, or if you're going to be passively farming for pests, then I recommend going for traps and then mouse traps, because these will obviously give you pests over time, and that will help if you're not really farming at the moment. And then, of course, after that, you will have a better infrastructure for getting pests, and you'll be able to save up for the hedgehog pet, which is going to be crucial for anything with pests. So, that is how I would personally recommend getting started with pests. These are going to help you so much. These are going to give you easy wins for a lot of different medals in the farming contests, and they're going to be insanely helpful. The last thing I want to talk about for farming actually has to do with Jacob's contests. Early on, you are not going to be getting a gold or a silver medal. You're barely going to be getting a bronze medal if you're lucky. So, what I recommend doing, don't focus on getting your armor and all that set up before going for contests. Go for contests, go for bronze, and then after you go for bronze, go to the metal trades, trade it in for a silver, trade the silvers in for a gold, and then get a mathematical hoe blueprint, or a cocoa chopper, or a melon dicer, or a pumpkin dicer. Pumpkin dicer is really good, it's very helpful for contests, or any of these other things, but get a really good tool that you can consistently use to do good in contests, and then be able to get more good tools later on. Once again, I personally would recommend either a mathematical hoe blueprint or a melon or pumpkin dicer. I think the best, in my opinion, as of right now, is a pumpkin dicer, but also I'm a little later on. I have better armor. Early on, the first one that I went for was just a basic wheat hoe, and it did the job. I ended up being able to get a couple more bronzes and silvers more consistently, and from there I got a melon and then pumpkin dicer and went from there. Now, over time as well, you gotta get the Anita Talisman, Ring, and then Artifact, because this is basically 3 magic power. It is very expensive time-wise, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to do some big quest line for it or anything, you don't have to get lucky, it's just pretty much buy it, which is always a good thing on an Iron Man profile. Now, as of right now, I'm going to assume that you already have made it to the Dwarven Mines, because that is where we're going next. Now, I'm going to assume that you've gotten to the Dwarven Mines and legitimately nothing else. So from here, you're going to go over to the shop here, and you're going to do the same thing you probably normally would on a normal profile. You're going to get a Fractured Mithril Pickaxe. Eventually, when you get some Mithril, you're going to upgrade to a Bandaged, and then I recommend going to a normal Mithril Pickaxe. This will be kind of expensive because of the Bejeweled handle, but besides that, it won't be that bad. What I don't recommend doing is going for the Refined Mithril Pickaxe unless if you're way later into the game and can just do it for the museum. But the upgrade between these two is not good enough to warrant spending 2 Refined Mithril on it. So I fully recommend going with a Mithril Pickaxe until you can't, pretty much. It is going to be alright for the beginning. After that, you're going to end up getting drills, and that'll last you pretty well for now. Aside from that, I would also recommend trying to go down the Titanium Pickaxe line if you can. This you're going to have to wait a bit more for because it's more expensive, it costs more coins and more items. But if you can get up to the Polished Titanium Pickaxe, this is going to give you 100 mining fortune for titanium. Now, the all-around costs are not great, but honestly they could be a lot worse. You'll pay this off very easily. Now, if you don't see why you would get this titanium pickaxe, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, the mining speed's terrible, it only has mining fortune for titanium, that is exactly why you want to get it. Think of it this way. When you put fortune on this pickaxe, that's adding 30 mining fortune. Mixed with that 100 mining fortune on titanium, you have 130 mining fortune, right? Only for titanium, yes, but that's still 130 mining fortune for titanium. Your best drills early on are going to have maybe 70. That is, I think right now, I have 70-ish mining fortune on my drill. Right here you can see, yeah, 83, without the reforge it would be 70. So in short, if I'm mining specifically for titanium, that pickaxe is still almost double as good as my drill. And I have a 455, that's not like a barely forged 355 or anything, that's a pretty alright 455. So, don't underestimate the titanium pickaxe. I have never seen someone suggest it, and I do not know why. This thing is amazing, it is fantastic, you can put a reforge on it, I don't know why I've never reforged this one, and you'll get so much more titanium. I genuinely haven't really had to worry about titanium since starting this profile just because I got that, and I have had so much more titanium than I needed. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to mine and how the Heart of the Mountain works and all that. I'll save that for when I do a specific mining guide, but what I am going to say is the gear that you want to go for. After you get to Heart of the Mountain 4, maybe 3, I forget exactly, you're going to be looking at drills. These are going to be game changer. As you can see, the Mithril Pickaxe that I suggested earlier had like 150 less mining speed and 7 mining fortune compared to 15. This also will give you more Mithril Powder, which is going to be insanely good. Now it will need fuel, but that really won't be too big of an issue. But the biggest issue is going to be the price, item-wise. Now the items that you'll need aren't too bad seeming, the cost really isn't that bad, but it's actually getting the items that's the issue. You'll need the 3 refined mithril, which honestly will be annoying, but not that bad. The biggest issue is going to be the drill motor, where you'll need an enchanted iron block, 3 enchanted redstone blocks, a golden plate, which is hard to forge in and of itself, and 10 treasurite. Now, you may think those 10 treasurite that you'll need will be a pain, because, you know, you need 10 of them, and they're a 0.5% drop from treasure hoarders, and these, at this point, are honestly kind of hard to fight. But the thing is, the thing that everyone forgets, quite literally, just, you know, go into the mithril deposits in the crystal hollows and kill the mobs here, and also powder mine, you know, open the chests when you can. I still have no armor on, that's why I'm dealing, like, no damage. But just mine a bit and open the chests, you'll get the treasurite in no time. If you know how to powder mine, then that's exactly what you want to do. As for the rest of the stuff you'll need, you can get it all pretty easily, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But that is gonna be the tool that you're gonna want early on. After that, eventually you'll unlock the 355, which is going to be an insane upgrade, and it's an insane upgrade in price too. But by this point you'll be able to mine a lot easier, you'll have better gear, you'll be able to get this relatively easily as well. As for the 455 though, whenever you end up going for this, I am going to tell you an incredibly abnormal technique. Okay? This is not a technique that I have ever seen anyone do before, but this is what I did. This is what worked for me, and honestly, I think it might work for you. If you have time, and if you don't care about grinding for commissions for Heart of the Mountain, I would honestly, once again, this is what I did. I'm not fully suggesting doing this because this is kind of a wild thing to do, but completely speedrun going to Heart of Mountain 7, and then you can go into Glaciite Tunnel mineshafts, find the Lapis corpses, you know, that'll help you a lot with loot, and you can use your drill or your pickaxe, whatever, to kill the mobs and get a ton of Glaciite jewels. Because the thing is, early on, these things are very rare. These things are a pain to get from the normal Glaciite walkers. They're a very competitive and a very rare drop. So if you can get them in a mineshaft where no one else can take them from you and where you can get other loot as well, personally I'd say why not. And I did say that. I was able to get Heart of Mountain 7 pretty easily, and then comes the issue of worrying about how you'll get a mining power or a breaking power of 9 or 8, I forget exactly which, so that you can actually mine in the Glaciite tunnels. What I recommend doing for that is going for the easier tool, which is the gemstone drill. This you'll need 3 gemstone mixtures, which won't be too bad at that point, and all of the stuff right here, which also won't be that bad. And then after that, you will be able to have a breaking power 8 tool, which, let me say right now, you will have a higher breaking power than what you'll have at that point, if you followed my same mining progression. And then you may be wondering, once again, for the Glaciite tunnels you need a breaking power of 9. Well, here's what I would recommend. You go ahead and you get 5 Glaciite jewels, which once again, they're rare, these are valuable, and you put scraped on it. This will give you 1 more breaking power, that'll give you that 9 breaking power that you need, and then you'll be set. Now, I will warn you, this is not going to be a good tool for the Glaciite tunnels, but you're going to need this anyway for powder mining, and this is going to be helpful later on anyway for pristine during mining fiestas, so I recommend going for it one way or another. So, once again, that's just what I did. You don't have to follow that part of this guide, but I honestly would recommend it. It worked for me. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And then as you can see here, once again, I have plenty of Glaciite jewels now, so obviously it did work in the end. Now, the last main super specific suggestion that I have, and then I'm going to give some more miscellaneous suggestions, do everything that you can that is daily, That is incredibly important. Do not miss days, because those are days wasted. This is Iron Man, you need to use your time well. If you want. I mean, obviously all of this is up to you. You don't have to fully follow this guide, you can take what you want from it. This is my suggestion. I don't even follow this myself always. But, if you can, and when you can, you always want to do your daily experiments. You always want to go into Rift whenever you can, because you'll be able to get valuable items, you'll be able to progress into Rift, obviously, and that'll help. And you'll be able to get more XP from maxing out stuff in the Rift. And the most important daily thing that you can do, honestly, is going to the Nether. And I'm going to show you, wait, let me put on some actual armor. And you're going to want to follow this same exact route, if you can. You can also make your own way to it. I really don't care personally, however you want to do it. You're going to want to go to this cave, and you're going to go in, you're going to go down, you're going to take a left. And from here, you're going to want to follow into this little area over here. You're going to want to go into the Matriarch's area. And this way you will be able to get some heavy pearls, which will be needed for upgrading your Crimson armor later on, or any Kudra armor to be more specific. And Kudra armor, in case if you don't know, is the best armor sets in the game. Which, believe it or not, is a very good thing to have, and you're going to want to upgrade them. And you're going to need these to upgrade them. And this is something that you can only do once a day. Technically, there are ways that you can get more heavy pearls, or ways that you can do it more than once a day, but generally, without any interference, you'll only be able to do 3 heavy pearls every day. So, most important thing, if you leave this to the very end, if you leave it till way later on, you will have wasted a ton of time where you could have been grabbing these materials super easily, and you will not be able to progress your armor set until you upgrade, or until you get enough of these. I would also very much suggest doing your faction quests, but early on those will be a bit of a pain to do, so obviously, you know, if you just can't do them, then that's okay. Now, as I said, there are a few more miscellaneous things that don't really add to specific skills or anything like that that I would like to mention. First off, do not waste mares. Mares may only come around every now and then. Who knows when Diana will come back again. Probably relatively soon, let's be real. But for example, Finnegan, who is in the election room right now, I don't even remember the last time Finnegan was mayor. So if you see a rare mare like that, you want to take as much advantage of it as possible. For example, if Diana is mayor, once again, I know that's not really a rare mare, but if she is, then you're going to want to get the actual stuff to do Diana's event, and you're going to want to do that until you get at least an epic, or an uncommon griffin pet. Now, the reason you'll want at least an uncommon griffin pet is that permanent regen and strength. This will not do an absolute ton, but it will help you when you're just starting out, and that's why I specifically grinded for this level griffin when I first started, and it completely carried my early game playthrough. Aside from that, if you can grind the Diana event enough, I would also suggest going for some of the actual items that you can get from it, such as the Beastmaster Crest. This is an accessory, obviously, that you can get relatively easily, right there. This is pretty cheap, and it's a very helpful accessory, and once again, it's pretty cheap, so you can get it very easily early on for some easy extra magic power. And magic power is a very, very useful thing in an Iron Man profile. It's very useful anywhere in Skyblock, but especially so on Iron Man because it's harder to come by magic power or more accessories. Now, some more examples of how not to waste mares. If Foxy has carnivals, you need to do at least the specific quests that'll give you extra bonus points. You don't have to do more after that unless if you really want to. I know that I don't. I have a few stacks of carnival tickets that have added up. But at least get the like 3,000 points that you can get every time that Foxy comes around, and use those either to buy some of the mask bag that you can use as an accessory, or more importantly, get some of the actual upgrades that'll help you with chances for stuff like glossy gemstones or refined minerals, or stuff that'll help with other events like the Jerry event or the spooky event. Upgrading everything that you can with Foxy as soon as possible is going to just help you throughout literally the entire game, so there is no reason to waste that. Another example I would give would be Aatrox. His perks are really helpful for an early game Iron Man, especially considering that it cuts the price in half and gives more XP, so you'll be able to get up to, say, Zombie 7, Spider 7, maybe even Wolf 7 really easily. I used it last time Aatrox was in office to get up to E-Man 5. I was gonna say E-Man 7, but I didn't. And I used all of the drops that I got from all that to craft a Juju shortbow with a lot of help. I did not do this all alone. I would not have this thing if it wasn't for help from different viewers during streams, helping with carries on T4 E-Man. But the point still stands. Having all of these perks is insane, and you need to take any advantage that you can on an Iron Man profile. Another example, once again, is Finnegan. You'll have a full shop that is just around when Finnegan is mayor, otherwise known as the Pelt Shop, and while that shop is open, I highly recommend trying to do as much as you can with it, because you will not be able to get some of those items unless if he is mayor, and once again, I do not remember the last time he was mayor. I have been waiting to get stuff like the Pelt Belt or the Green Bandana for so long, and I just can't until he's mayor again, but no one likes him as mayor lately for some reason, so he hasn't been mayor in a long time. That is exactly why I'm saying don't waste these mayors, because if I had gotten all of this stuff one of the first times when I saw him as a mayor on my Iron Man, then I would have been so much farther along. But because I didn't get them, I wasted so much time of not having these items, and I couldn't just buy them off the auction house or the bazaar or whatever else, and I had to buy them, or I have to wait until Finnegan is mayor again. As for Diaz, she doesn't do a ton, but don't waste the fact that you can buy 10 times the amount from NPCs. This is really helpful if you're buying, say, ice from the builder, so that you can make a glacial or frozen scythe, or you can be buying mob drops. You can buy a lot more of them, because honestly you don't get that many from actually killing mobs. So don't waste that perk, it's actually more helpful than it sounds. Another thing I recommend is make sure that if Cole is mayor, you get mineral armor and maybe even glossy mineral as soon as possible. I got really lucky in the fact that Cole was mayor shortly after I started this profile, and I was able to just mine in the mines of Devon to get a ton of refined minerals so that I could get full mineral armor, and that completely carried me through everything after that. That was insanely beneficial. It is one of the most important armor sets that you can get, because it's going to help with so many different things, and if Cole is mayor, do not miss a fiesta, pretty much, if you can. Obviously, if you can't, then you can't do much about that, but if you can make it to a fiesta, make sure you do. Now, the other thing I'm gonna say is basically the exact same thing, but instead of mayors, with events. Now, I know not everyone can make it to things like the Spooky Festival, or the Traveling Zoo, or the Season of Jerry. I know I can't for a lot of these, but if you can, then try to with everything you have. These are once again going to give you a ton of really helpful items, really helpful armor sets, really helpful weapons, pets, everything else. It's better to have them earlier than later, so definitely try to focus on all of those when they're around. As for the Traveling Zoo, same as with a normal profile, try to get a lion pet and a tiger pet. The other ones aren't really that good. Monkey pet is also good, but now that there's the frog pet, it just is completely outshined. Now, the absolute last thing I want to talk about for how to get started on an Iron Man profile is do not underestimate the Rift. If you can get a Rift necklace, even if it isn't fully maxed, you'll get a ton more magic find, a ton of health, a ton of strength, a ton of defense, and these are going to be so helpful outside of dungeons. Obviously not inside dungeons, because you can't dungeonize it, but this is also going to help you a ton in the Rift, and the Rift is going to give you a ton of helpful items, so I fully suggest going and trying to max out the Rift, or at least do as much as in the Rift as you can. So for those reasons, I fully recommend trying to max out the Rift, or at least get as far as you can, as soon as you can, because it will help, trust me. Everything you do on an Iron Man profile will help you, and yeah, pretty much just do everything that you can. Anyway though, that is going to be the end for this video. If you enjoyed the video and if it helped, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out more than you know, as well as it helps out to get this video to more people who might need it. So definitely make sure to do that. We are on the road to 2,500 subscribers, and we are honestly almost there, so please subscribe for that as well. If I forgot anything, if you have any suggestions as well, if you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I will try to get back to that as soon as possible. And yeah, thank you all again so much for watching. I hope to be able to make more guides like this again soon. I know I've been kind of out of a rhythm with guides lately, but you know, I hope to get back into it. And yeah, thank you again for watching. Till next time everyone, and goodbye.